Ladies and gentlemen, live from the West Bank of the Flats, it's LG with Cleveland Sports 360. His guest today, my man Dave Danese of Detroit Sports 360. And now, with no further ado, it's your boy LG.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of Cleveland Sports 360, coming at you again from the Cleveland Talk Sports beautiful studios on the West Bank of the Flats. Hey, the sun came out to shine a little light on the story we're about to bring to you. We got a 360 exclusive happening this evening. We got Dave Danese all the way down from Detroit Sports 360. Hey, your Browns lost yesterday. You know, my Browns lost yesterday. Dave, what happened? Your team won, right?
Oh, yeah, we won. We beat Tim Tebow. And 45-10, that's looking good. I was getting sick and tired of hearing about all the Tebow talk all week about how Tebow's the next coming or whatever, but we beat him. It was nice.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to talk about, Peyton Hillis again on the sidelines for the Cleveland Browns. That's no way to renegotiate a contract. The Browns, you can see they're totally lacking offensive skills right now. We have another game under the belt with still no offensive touchdowns in the first quarter of football. That's 7 games in a row for Cleveland Browns this season alone without putting up a touchdown. You know, you got the Peyton Hillis issue, sitting there nursing a sore hamstring before it was a case of strep throat. I don't know if Hillis is going to be in a Cleveland Browns uniform much longer. Indians news today, they did not choose to pick up the option on Grady Sizemore, although they did pick up Carmona. I don't understand that one, Kenyon, man.
You always pick up pitchers, man. Grady Sizemore is nothing but a little guy with a coffee cup.
We're talking Carmona, though, man. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you saw the show last week. Dave, you saw it, didn't you?
I did.
You know, we brought you some inside scoops behind the scenes in the Lingerie Football League. Obviously, a lot of ladies want to get involved in what they thought was professional football. Turns out none of these ladies are getting a paycheck this year. If they are, I haven't been able to uncover one that was getting paid in any games they played in 2011 so far. Also, the injuries that these women are sustaining, it's completely ridiculous. These women are charged for health care policies, and when they do get an injury, a lot of these women don't even choose to bring it to the league's front office. It's unfortunate. You pay for insurance. Dave, when you worked at an establishment where you had health care, did you get a health care card and a book in the mail?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's standard.
You know, every time you pay for health care insurance, you're supposed to get some kind of card in the mail, some kind of booklet of explanation of benefits. These young ladies wanted to play pro football. You might have saw last week we had some girls from the Toronto team that banded together, left 20 girls. The front office of the LFL wants you to believe that these women who were world-class athletes, including an Olympic runner, you don't run in the Olympics just by wanting celebrityism. You actually have to beat a lot of people in the world to get into the Olympic trials just to be accepted to an Olympic team. They don't pick you right up off the street, Dave.
No, they don't. Not for the Olympics. You would think not.
You know, so these were world-class athletes. The LFL wants you to believe that these were just disgruntled women that didn't want to play in a football league. They wanted celebrityism. Tonight we're going to be joined on the show live. We're going to go to Seattle, Washington. We're going to talk with Natasha Lindsey, who was the quarterback for the Seattle Mist before she sustained what could be deemed as a career-ending injury. A lot of players in professional sports completely tore their ACL out of their knees and have never regained the same usage of that leg that they had once before. But ladies and gentlemen, this young lady not only suffered a severe injury doing battle for the Seattle Mist in the Lingerie football team, all this lady wanted to do was play professional football. She joined the LFL. She became part of the Seattle Mist. She started as in the quarterback position. She hurt her knee, and she paid for that health care insurance, which the league completely denied trying to help her. I mean, they didn't deny it, but they drug it out for 5 months. This poor girl couldn't even get an MRI. She never did receive a health care benefit card in the mail for God only knows how long it took her to find out who the healthcare provider was. She couldn't receive an MRI to get properly diagnosed for the injury. Dave, if you ever get hurt, do you go down to a regular hospital, get an X-ray, MRI? I mean, how long does that usually take you in Detroit?
Yeah, well, in Detroit it takes a day, but you know, I mean, you got to go down. You got to go right away for something that serious. You know, you got an ACL injury, you go to the hospital, you get it taken care of, and then you move forward. You know, you got your health care, you got to bring it with you. And I understand all that. You know, you got to bring your card with you, but why do you not even have a card at that point after that long? Is my question. You know.
Well, when I talked to Toronto, a lot of the players up there paid the $250, $245 for this insurance and never received anything. We're going to take you live to Seattle, Washington on the phone lines. Joining us on the Cleveland Sports 360 show tonight, Natasha Lindsey, former quarterback for the Seattle Mist, who suffered one heck of an injury that the LFL tried to avoid taking care of. Natasha, you there?
I am here.
How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fair. You know, we actually got a little sunshine here. I think it was because you were coming to the show. So, Natasha, tell us about what happened. How did you sustain this knee injury?
It was actually the very first game of last season. It was the home opener and the season opener. And it was within the first series of plays. It was a broken play, and so I had to run the ball, and I basically got sideswiped and twisted my knee. And then
in the first game?
Yeah, in the very first game of last season.
Now, Natasha, what happened after you got injured? Did you go to your coaches? I mean, did they have to carry you off the field? Take us through the entire experience, will you, please?
No, I actually, when I got up, it was difficult to walk. So I knew that something was seriously wrong. And so the doctor, we had a team physician and a chiropractor and then like a rehab guy on site. So I saw them and they iced it and they stretched it, and I actually kept playing. I got it wrapped at halftime, and then I basically kept playing throughout the game until I couldn't walk anymore. So I think it was the beginning of the second half. I ended up getting carried off the field. At that point, the muscles in my leg basically shut down to protect my knee.
Okay, so were there people available on site during this game from the Lingerie Football League's front office that witnessed what happened to you?
Oh, yeah, they're at every single game.
Who was present?
We had Heather and Mitch and our team physicians, our chiropractor, the other team's doctors. So, I mean, pretty much everybody that could help was there.
Okay, who's Mitch? Mitch who?
He's the league commissioner for the LFL.
Okay, what's his last name?
Mortaza.
Okay, because a lot of listeners may not know that information out there. You just have to remember we're doing this as this can go all the way around the world. Okay, so then you were injured, your muscles shut down. They tried to protect your knee. You had to be carried off the field right in the beginning of the second half. What was your next move after that, Natasha?
The team physician actually originally diagnosed it as a sprained MCL. So I had to wait for basically clearance from the league to get an MRI and X-ray to basically go further in receiving care for my injury. But it was more probably frustrating than anything because I had to wait close to 3 months to even receive an MRI. I did rehab with our sports rehab guy, and he basically did it for free to kind of help me out. So it was a good 3 to 4 months before I received any professional care, MRI, possible surgery, or anything. I was never given insurance information from the league when I originally heard it, or anything else. It wasn't until October 8th, which is our second game of the season, that I was told that the MRI would happen within a couple weeks.
So when you, even though you paid out of your first paycheck for this health care coverage, you couldn't even get the insurance information for quite some time. Is that correct?
Yes, I was never given it. It was never given to me by the league when I first hurt my injury. I got it through other players and through doing research on my own.
Now, did you go to the league and ask them for health care insurance information?
I was told I was in weekly contact with Miriam, who worked for the league at the time.
And who is
about
Miriam?
What I need to do. I'm sorry?
Who is Miriam?
She is Mitch's sister.
Okay. So this doctor that was the team physician, his name was Paul. Can you help me out? Yeah, is that the team physician we're referring to right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I got an email that you were good enough to forward to me. I believe you kept all the communications that you had between the doctors, the hospitals, the LFL, and yourself. Let me read this real quick, and you tell me this sounds about right to you. It says, "Goodness gracious, the league is interesting. We will still not be able to get a free MRI. Discounted, yes. Free, no. Mitch and Miriam seem to think I can just whip one out, but it just doesn't work that way. Let me say that I'm still trying, waiting to hear back from yet another facility, hopefully by the end of the week. In the meantime, tell me how your knee is doing, popping, clicking, giving out, swelling, stiffness. Where is it tender? I'd like to examine you sometime soon. Any availability on Friday. And just an FYI, I've been in constant contact with the medical director in Chicago. He told me that he is fed up with Mitch and his insulting and unprofessional demands. He is appalled at what is going on with you and says it's happening all over the league. Girls are getting injured and they do nothing. So he is going to resign today unless Mitch turns things around. I am waiting to hear to see how that goes. Just know we are looking out for your best interest. One way or another, you will be getting some treatment you need. Whether it be all for free or not is the question. It may come down to filing a claim with the league's insurance, something they don't want you to do. For now, please keep our discussions confidential. The less you tell Miriam and Mitch, the better. Let them know that you are getting therapy, etc., and that we are still waiting for an MRI. But only if they ask. Going straight to them doesn't seem to be productive. They do not care about you at all. Fill me in on the above. Does that sound about right to you, Natasha?
Yes, that was an email that I received.
Right, and you were good enough to forward it to me.
Yep.
So these guys, even though you paid health care coverage to play in what you perceive to be a professional football league, they did not want to pay for any medical MRIs for your knee at all. Is that correct?
No, during my injury and the entire that I spent trying to get care and trying to get medical bills paid for, I got the runaround. There was never a straight answer. There was never, here's our insurance information, here's what you need to do to file a claim, here we'll take care of you. It was none of that. It was actually probably the complete opposite.
And there was no mistake about it. You clearly paid for health care coverage through the LFL, correct?
Yeah, they kept my first paycheck for that August 27th game.
I know. I saw some email correspondence relating to that paycheck, because at one time you even asked, hey, if I'm going to quote something that you wrote, and you just correct me if I make a mistake, Natasha. You asked the league straight up, hey, if you're not going to pay for my MRI, could I get my money back that you kept my paycheck, because it would certainly help to be a down payment towards an MRI. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I basically wrote them and voiced my frustrations on having my paycheck for the first game being kept and the lack of care that I have received. And if I wasn't going to receive care, I wanted my money back so that I can, put it towards getting an MRI, because what was most important to me was getting my injury taken care of.
Absolutely. At that time, you were struggling to get through everyday life as you normally would have before the injury. But let me ask you another question. I saw some correspondence between you and the doctor. You ended up needing some pretty good surgery to get this knee repaired, right?
Yeah, I had to get an ACL repair.
Okay, so before that transpired, how did you manage to finally get an MRI?
Our team physician, the email that you read from Dr. Paul, he actually ended up resigning. So our team chiropractor was then named the team physician, and he referred me to some doctors in Kirkland, Washington. Said they're really good. This is what they specialize in. go here, see them, and then, we'll get you an MRI. So Mark Weber, who is a chiropractor, called around to see if he can get a discounted rate for an MRI, in which he found. And I put the LFL down for basically the guarantor so that they have to pay for it.
So anyways, Natasha, finally you got an MRI. It was diagnosed you had a bad ACL. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you actually had surgery scheduled. You'd had time scheduled off of work. You had caretakers that rearranged their schedules to take care of you after the surgery because obviously you weren't going to be very mobile. And take us through that. What happened when it was time to go get this operation?
So I had the surgery scheduled with the doctors in Kirkland. And the day before my scheduled surgery, I was called from the doctor's office saying the insurance company that the LFL has don't have the required paperwork from the league that they need to file the claim and pay for. The $10,000 is what the allotted insurance claim they took out. So we need to cancel your surgery.
Okay, so at the time that you took out the health care insurance policy, did you know it was only for $10,000?
It does state in our contract that it's only for $10,000, but I signed a contract. I didn't have any insurance, and I had no idea how much torn ACL surgery would cost. I've never been seriously injured before. I thought some was better than nothing.
Well, sure it is.
I guess, on that part, but any facility and any injury that an LFL player can sustain in a full contact 7-on-7 game or sport is unrealistic to me.
Yeah, I think that these girls should be covered. God forbid a serious. I mean, this is a serious injury you sustained, but I mean, there's been high school players that have become paralyzed playing full contact football. Mm-hmm. And okay, so the first surgery got scrapped because the insurance wasn't going to be enough to pay for the bill. Did they try to send you some guy in Los Angeles? I think me and you discussed once.
Yeah, well, so I was in contact with Heather. She's kind of, you can probably see her as a joint commissioner with Mitch Mortaza, but I told her that I didn't really want to pay $6,000 out of pocket plus additional costs for rehab and whatnot, so she said that they would look into finding a different doctor. So they found this doctor in LA that would do it within their $10,000 limit, but he was on vacation at the time, and then we were waiting to hear back because he was looking to get a facility to do the surgery at.
Now, Natasha, I find something else interesting. Didn't they have to change the date of the injury on the papers they filed with the insurance company?
With the insurance company, at the time that I was playing, you have 90 days to, it's 60 or 90 days to file a date of injury. So I got injured August 27th. I had my surgery scheduled for January 6th the second time around, and the LFL put on the insurance claim that I was injured on October 8th so that the insurance wouldn't overlap.
Now, did they not file in the 90 days previous to that? I mean, they didn't even file the paperwork for the first 90 days? I mean, why did they have to change the date?
They had to, no, because they didn't file it.
Okay, so
and it wasn't until I said, I want this. I actually called the insurance company myself to get everything squared away and to make sure that they have what they needed from the LFL. Wow. So they basically never filed it, and so they had to put it between August and October 8th. I mean, that's a good 2-3 months in itself.
So they knew you were injured, and yet they didn't even file the appropriate forms with the insurance company.
No, probably not until they absolutely had to.
Okay.
When they knew that I was going forward with care.
And then when they did do that, they definitely changed the date of the injury occurrence, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got a call from the surgeon's office saying the date that the insurance company has and the date of injury that you gave us doesn't match. We need it to match in order to get this forward.
Okay. Now, do you mind if we take a little commercial break for 30 seconds and we come right back and finish up this story with you, Natasha?
Sounds good. I'll be here.
30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you have an investment portfolio out there or not, but you know, you're listening to somebody who got seriously injured. It's not that she didn't want to pay the extra $6,000. We're going to get to that in a minute after the break. I bet you she didn't have an extra $6,000 floating away. If you're young, it's important to put a few bucks away every week and plan for your financial future. Vicky Manarino over at Raymond James is standing by to take your call, not obviously after 5 o'clock, but anytime between 9 and 5 on every day of the week. Give Vicky Manarino a call at Raymond James. Sit down with her, discuss your financial future. You can reach Vicky at 440-516-7550 or toll free at 888-289-7550. We'll be back in 30 seconds with more of Natasha Lindsey, starting quarterback for the Lingerie Football Seattle Mist at one time before the league turned her away from proper medical treatment that she needed to get her knee fixed. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. On the phone live with us from Seattle, Washington, is Natasha Lindsey, the first player that had the guts and the intestinal fortitude to fight the LFL, the Lingerie Football Team, to get what was rightfully hers, something that she paid for, her knee fixed from an injury she sustained while playing LFL football. Natasha, you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay, so we left off. You were trying to get surgery. You were going to go to L.A. Obviously, tell us, how did that pan out?
It did not pan out well at all. At the time I got a new job, and I told Heather I'm happy to go to L.A. Or wherever you need to send me, but I need on this day. This is what I've arranged with my new employer, and that never happened. I still got the runaround. Like I said, they told me that the doctor was looking for a facility, and at this time, I had kept my date with the Kirkland doctors, and I just went forward with it. I mean, almost 6 months later, or even longer, at that point, I felt that it was ridiculous to wait for them to actually want to do something to help me, because that's not what I had experienced.
Okay, so it took 6 months. You finally went forward. You had the knee surgery. You had the rehab. You had to go through painstakingly long therapy, I'm sure, to get the movement back to where it needs to be, right?
Yep.
And obviously, you still have a boatload of medical bills. Is that correct?
Yes, at 16, probably. So the surgery that I had cost $16,000 alone. So there's $6,000, and then there was the rehab, and then the CPM machine, which I had to be in for 8 hours a day for a week post-surgery, and then the brace that I have to wear every time I work out post-surgery for support. It's probably close to $10,000.
So right now, you're still out of pocket $10,000 in expenses that obviously you don't have the money to pay for right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those bills are in the collection agency, you told me, right?
Yes, they are.
Now, have you known other girls that have been injured in the Lingerie Football League?
I have. Actually, during my issues that I was having with the LFL, I got many emails from current players asking me for the insurance information and how to go about getting care for their injuries and what they should do. And not only that, like, I got players saying, we just want to thank you for standing up to the league and doing this because we don't have the guts to do it. This is the only opportunity that we have, to travel around the country because we're, we work in a restaurant or we're a single mom. So,
I have a question really
I
quick.
think it takes one person to stand up to him, and, unfortunately it had to be me. But I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Dave Danese from Cleveland, from Detroit Sports 360, like to ask you something, Natasha.
Yeah, I got a question for you. You were the first one to come out. Would you say that this is a common thing throughout the league, obviously, that this is happening to everybody, not just you, and it's still going on today?
I know it's happened a lot. It happened a lot in the 2 years that I played for the league. And from my experience, the league is not very apt to pay out money for anything. And obviously you guys know that the players aren't getting played this year, so, that's also an issue in itself, but that's,
And what's that issue, too, for everyone that doesn't know about this year? Because I wasn't up to speed on that. Who no one's getting paid this year?
No, the players have to pay to play this year. They're not getting paid at all. Their travel expenses are getting paid, and whatnot, but in the 2 years that I played, we got paid based off ticket sales, and the girls don't even get that luxury this year.
Now, Natasha, did the league finally cough up the $10,000 from the insurance policy after you struggled for all these months? Did they finally come through with some of the medical bills?
Yeah, they covered $10,000.
Okay.
The $10,000.
So what kind of advice would you give young ladies in America that wanted to play in the Lingerie Football League, Natasha? Do you have any advice you'd like to pass on to those people out there?
I would say know exactly what you're getting into. For me, it was a matter of having respect for myself, to not allow myself to be treated a certain way when I didn't deserve it. So if you don't mind going out there, having basically it be a full-time job, not getting paid for it, having the risk of getting seriously injured and ruining your credit, which is what happened to me, then go for it. But if not, it's not worth it at all.
Now, Natasha, what I've understood is other players that tried to come forward and present an injury claim to the Lingerie Football League, it's been my understanding that some of these players are no longer on the team, and they come up with some kind of an excuse. You gain too much weight, you don't look good doing this, or they always have some sort of an excuse. Do you personally know anybody or been acquainted with anybody that has happened to?
Yes. There have been girls that were put on suspension due to weight and not fitting the expectations of the league and the expectations of having a certain look, being tan, tone, fit, etc.
Were these expectations written down? Was it you kind of know going into it that you're expected to be fit. Obviously, if you're wearing, you could just see it as a bra and panties that, you obviously want to look a certain way. And the league was very adamant about being tanned and being toned and make sure you're working out and this and that. And there was actually a game versus LA the very first year the league formed that a couple of our players on the Seattle Mist were benched because of weight issues. Who determines that, what the LFL look or fitness would be, I guess?
It would be Mitch Mortaza.
Okay.
Who's the commissioner of the league?
Mitch Mortaza. He kind of has to say in everything.
Now, is it true that in order for a woman to be accepted onto the LFL football team, no matter what team, what city, wherever it takes place, they have to supply 4 different pictures of themselves in a bikini, 4 different views to this league for approval before they're accepted onto the team? Did you ever hear anything like that?
You have to, in the 2 years that I played, if, say, we had new girls come and try out, they had to be cleared by the league. As one of the captains of the Seattle Mist for 2 years, I took pictures of girls that were new on the team that had to be sent to the league so that they could be cleared to play based off looks.
So one of your responsibilities as a team captain, you were ordered to take these pictures of these girls and supply them to the league office. Is that correct?
Well, it wasn't necessarily, or it wasn't, mandatory that you have to do this, but as a captain, there are expectations that you're expected to follow, and being a leader and, having the quote-unquote look that the LFL wants is part of it.
And what's stopping Mitch from just saying, hypothetical situation he doesn't like?
Talking to the mic.
I think it went out.
Try it.
Hello? All right. So, stop again. Oh, there we go. What's to stop Mitch? Sorry about that, little technical difficulties, but what's to stop Mitch from just saying he doesn't think you fit the look? If there's nothing written down, if he could really just get mad at someone and say, you don't fit the look, and that's that. And is that true? Is that untrue?
Oh, no, that could very well be the case. I mean, it's all based off his expectations and what he wants the league to, be and to be perceived as.
So basically, if Mitch Mortaza is out there telling people these are strictly women that are great athletes at playing football, and the only reason they're on these teams, obviously they look fairly decent, but I mean, has he turned away great football players maybe because they were 5 or 10 pounds overweight?
That's a difficult question. If you are a great football player, like for our first year we had Lindsey Blaine, she wasn't 110 pounds, but she was an amazing football player. He kept her on the team because she had a fan base. She made people want to come out and watch her because she was that good. So it all kind of depends on perception and what he perceives of you and how useful you could be.
Now, Natasha,
to the league and to the team.
Okay, so you were a team captain for 2 years with the Seattle Mist. You were a quarterback. Obviously, you were a leader on the team. Were you treated any differently after your injury than you were before your injury by Mitch?
To be honest, Mitch was never high on me being the starting quarterback and was never, I don't want to say wasn't a fan, but he was never on board for it. I was told by our coaches that he thought that I was too little to be a quarterback and that somebody else needed to be in there.
Well, that's why we have Colt McCoy in Cleveland. He's kind of small, too. But let me ask you a question. Can you give us any insight to how does Mitch Mortaza treat the ladies in general that play on these teams? Is he nice to every single one of you?
No, it's there is this. How do I say this? There is.
Well, in plain English,
there's this aura that Mitch has about him that what he thinks goes, and he is kind of quote unquote God's gift to the earth. Girls, we were always told you need to be glad to be in this position and to be in the LFL because girls would kill to be here, and you are replaceable. Don't think that you're not.
Oh, he sounds like a real winner.
Okay, so
and it's a lack of respect. Period.
So when Mitch Mortaza goes out and he tries to tell anybody in the media that he has nothing to do with the coaches that play on these teams are strictly responsible for picking out all the personnel. Is that a true statement, or does Mitch Mortaza have anything to do with saying, yes, these people are going to play, or no, I don't want these people on my team? Tell me.
He attempts to put his input in, but like our Seattle Mist coaches, the 2 years that I played were absolutely amazing, and they didn't listen to what they told him to do, playing-wise, who should be playing, who should not be playing. So it really depends on the coaches and whether they actually listen to him or not.
Okay, what happens? I've heard a lot of stories that people that don't really listen to what the commissioner says are no longer with the league anymore. Is some of that false?
No, not at all. I mean, we've had our team physician, which, didn't listen to him. He ended up resigning. He left. Our, Bill, who did our rehab for girls with injuries, he left. I mean, there's a reason why team physicians are leaving, and there are new girls playing on teams every single year.
So never is it a consistent same women year after year. Now let me ask you one other question. When you signed your Lingerie Football League contract, Were you allowed to take that contract and have your lawyers read it over?
No.
And is it stated right in the contract that you are not allowed to have any legal representation read over this contract?
As far as I can remember, yes.
Okay. And there was a clause in there about accidental nudity and $500 fines if you didn't, if you got caught wearing any panties underneath your uniform or anything like that, right?
There's fines for probably anything and everything in that contract. I mean, whether they enforce it or not, I don't know. I never experienced being fined. But, yeah, you could be pretty much fined for anything and everything. For quitting, I think there was a $5,000 fine, which is ridiculous.
For what?
But
Quitting.
For quitting? Oh, quitting. There's a $500 fine for quitting.
No, $5,000.
$5,000 fine for quitting? Okay.
You said $5,000, right, Natasha?
yeah, I mean, that's how a rough estimate, but it's close. Some ridiculous amount.
For you people out there that don't know who we're talking to, this is Natasha Lindsey. She was the starting quarterback for the Seattle Mist Lingerie Football League until she tore her ACL in her leg. She had to battle the league for over 6 months to get this paid for. They did not pay for the entire medical bills. Even though she paid for medical insurance, it was only a $10,000 policy. The league changed the dates on this accident and some papers to the insurance company with an altered date on it and didn't take care of Natasha Lindsey's MRI for months. Natasha Lindsey still has $10,000 in collection right now that she owes out. She couldn't afford it. Not many Americans I know have an extra 10 G's sitting in the bank. So, Natasha, you know what we're going to do for you? This is Dave Danese, and between Dave Danese from Cleveland Sports, I'm Cleveland Sports 360, Dave Danese from Detroit Sports 360, and the entire Sports 360 network, we're going to put together a fundraiser for you, Natasha. Now, we're not guaranteeing anything. It's going to be a charity event. We're going to try to put a fundraiser together for you, and hopefully we can get some people to come across. Even if you give $1 or $2 to this fund, we're going to make it PayPal acceptable. It's going to be real easy. You can go on to any Sports 360 network site. Dave, tell us a little bit more how that's going to work. Natasha, this is Dave Danese again from Detroit Sports 360. Here, hold this one.
Here. Well, basically, you could just direct everybody to this site. We have a landing page right now on all the sites where you can go to in Detroit, Cleveland, Dallas, Chicago, Phoenix, Indy, St. Louis, any of the sites. And right on there, we'll just have a PayPal button, have everybody a donate here button. You can tell everybody. We'll send the URL. We'll have it on the Cleveland Sports Talk Radio show website and all the different websites. Just direct them there and donate whatever you want from here on out, and we'll get you, see what we can get to help out with these bills. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on.
Does that sound good to you, Natasha?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, guys.
So what we're going to do, Natasha, it's going to take us a day or two to get this together, okay? We're going to put this fundraiser together for Natasha Lindsey, who suffered a severe injury in the Lingerie Football League. Natasha, I will call you back in a day or two and give you all the details. We'll need a little bit of information from you, Natasha, so we can get this thing up and running. And this will be tax deductible. People can help out and deduct this on your income taxes. Not you, Natasha, the people that are going to give. But, Natasha, I'm going to be giving you a call in the next day or two. I really appreciate you spending the time with us. I know you're at work right now. And God bless you, Natasha. Take good care of yourself. One more statement you want to make to all those women out there that want to play in Mitch Mortaza's Lingerie Football League. What would it be?
Don't do it. Honest to God, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Okay, Natasha, thanks again for spending this time out of your life with us. We're only too glad to help you out. You're sending a message out there to other young women in America. We're going to let you go back to work now, Natasha. We know it's only 3:35 in Seattle, Washington. I hope your weather stays good, and God bless you. I'll be in touch in the next day or two, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take about a 30-second break. We got a couple of more big issues we're going to cover here on the Lingerie Football League. That was Natasha Lindsey live from Seattle, Washington. She took time out to tell us about the severe injury she suffered in the Lingerie Football League. And you heard her advice, young ladies. Don't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, sit down with a financial advisor, put a few bucks away every week. Dave's going to call this lady after the show. He was telling me. I told him I'd get her in touch with her tomorrow. But Vicky Manarino over at Raymond James is standing by 9 to 5, 5 days a week. One of the nicest ladies you'll ever talk to in your life when it comes to investments. She doesn't want to force you to do anything. Whatever you can do, sit down with Vicky Manarino. She'll come up with a plan strictly on your own terms. Give her a call, 440-516-7550 or 888-289-7550, toll free. 30-second timeout. We're going to be right back with you on the Cleveland Sports 360 show, live every Monday from the ClevelandTalkSports.com studios.
Still sticks in my head. All the clothes you wore and the words you said, and every taste left in my mouth was bad, because I've lost my faith in the human race. I wanna go to a different place. I've lost my faith.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland 360 show. We got Dave Danese all the way down from Detroit Sports 360 joining us live in the studios tonight. This story on the Lingerie Football League was just too big for LG to cover it all by himself, so I called in some heavy-duty reinforcements from Detroit that know how to handle people that don't want to pay. Dave, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show, Larry. Really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all, Dave. What did you think of Natasha Lindsey's story?
Man, that's crazy. You know, I mean, it's like she gets hurt. She waits 3 months before they even acknowledge the fact that she gets hurt. And then they switch up the dates, you know, it sounds like, and you know, the whole thing's just messed up. I mean, in football, you know, you have someone get hurt, they get an MRI the next day. You know, you hear on Sunday, hey, such and such was hurt, Matt Sever was hurt, MRI scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, you know, at Thursday. And then it's the story. You don't wait 3 months. You never hear that. You never hear MRI scheduled for 3 months down the road. You know, you just don't hear stuff like that.
Hey, Kenyon, I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but you know LG knows a lot of attorneys out through the Cleveland area, man. And I always thought when you altered forms and you submitted them to an insurance company and you didn't tell the whole truth on that, is that borderline insurance fraud or what?
You know what? What I'm getting from this whole situation is these girls signed a contract without legal representation. In the contracts, actually, what I'm hearing from everyone that talks, they explain everything that they do in these contracts. They tell you cannot get legal representation to look at the contract, but yet the girls still sign it. So I'm not saying that the girls are at fault at this, but if anybody asks you to sign a contract without legal representation, those right there are warnings telling you something ain't right.
You know what, Kenyon? That's a beautiful point you brought up. I was waiting to bring it up in a few seconds here. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you have a constitutional right as an American citizen to have legal representation. Nobody, nowhere can deny you having legal representation. When you get arrested, the first thing the police officer does is tell you your Miranda rights, and you have a right to an attorney, and if you can't afford one, one will be provided for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have a contract and the party you're signing that contract with denies you the chance to take that contract and have it looked at by your attorney, you have to step back and think to yourself, what in the hell is this guy trying to do to me here? I mean, come on, man. Nobody does that to an American citizen. The Constitution's here to protect you. I'm sick and tired of this guy. Where the hell did he come from, Kenyon? Hey, you know what? We got a letter here. We got a letter here from an active coach in the Lingerie Football League. And I'm going to tell you something. Hey, don't think I'm one-sided, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you what. I published an article on the Cleveland Sports 360 website. It's been running up there for a couple of days now. We have invited Mitch Mortaza to come to the Cleveland Talk Sports studio and join us on this show. You just have to sit back and wonder to yourself, where is he? Why isn't he here? And what the hell's his problem? That's number one. Number two, we got a letter from his attorney that ordered us last Monday to cease and desist. They called my man back there, Kenyon Johnson, and they tried to tell him, there ain't no way you're putting that show on. And you know what Kenyon said? We're reporters. We report the truth. Hey, let me go to this letter, Dave. We only got it. You know, I don't want to run out of time.
Well, we should send him a contract.
You got 15 minutes.
We should send him a contract that says to Mitch that says you cannot have legal representation when you sign this contract.
I'll tell Mitch this: if he thinks this is not a big enough station for him to come on and tell his story, well, we outnumbered your stadium sales at the Q by 5. So if you had 2,000,
5. What the hell are you talking about, man?
We've got so many more people than you put in your seats at the Q. So you may want to come on the show and tell your side of the story.
Hey, Mitch Mortaza, we got the whole ClevelandTalkSports.com. Hey, LG gets hundreds of thousands of hits at ClevelandSports360.com. Dave Danese has the whole Your Sports 360 network. How many cities you live in now, Dave?
6.
6 cities, and these are not little cities, Mitch. This is Chicago, Los Angeles, Dallas. Hey, them guys on the radio are running that Dallas Sports 360, right, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I mean, let me get to this letter here. This is going to take a little time. You guys may not believe this in Radio Land. The LFL will probably put a spin on this that you won't even believe, but this is from a real live coach in the LFL that is still active today. This man has stayed in his position strictly to protect the women that play in this Lingerie Football League. Let me read this to you. I am writing to you in hopes of exposing this fraud of character named Mitch Mortaza, commissioner and owner of the LFL. I was originally going to send this out to every team and ladies trying out in May 2011, but I figured they wouldn't even listen to me. You have a TV show that can reach more people than I ever will. I am a coach in the NFL, but obviously I'm being secretive about this because I need to stay put and coach my girls. If anyone from the league knew I was telling this, I would be fired immediately, and my team would suffer without me there. And ladies and gentlemen, I talked to this fellow on the phone too. I'm going to continue with the letter. I thought the goal of this league was to get individual owners just like the NFL and let them market and run the teams. Mitch has been approached on numerous occasions with offers ranging from $500,000 to $2.5 million to sell the teams to potential owners for those teams. He turned them all down. Mitch Mortaza needs to be replaced with more professional people who know how to run a business. Here's the letter I was going to send to them. Dear ladies of the LFL, I am writing this note to let you know about the LFL and its owner, Mitch Mortaza. I know all of this information from first-hand experience and people who have played and coached in this league. Those women who have played in this league the last 2 years know what I am saying is true because you've seen him firsthand on how he tries to run this league. Mitch Mortaza has never played football in his life, yet he has been known to hold tryouts in cities where he hasn't even hired a coach yet. For those of you who have tried out in front of him, you've seen firsthand how unorganized his tryouts are and how ridiculous his football drills are, and that he makes you perform. If there were coaches there, they were probably guys he had handpicked to run these drills, which really didn't give you ladies a fair chance at being evaluated. Leave the tryouts to the coaches and the people who have played this sport, Mitch Mortaza. Mitch Mortaza is an egotistical, self-centered control freak. He does not care who wins the LFL championship as long as he looks good in front of the camera. Your safety isn't even an issue when it comes to making the LFL look great in front of the sponsors or TV audience. Women are getting seriously injured, and the league is not paying a dime to help them. How many times has he said to you ladies, if you don't like it, how I do things, then just quit. I'll find 10 more girls to take your place. That's the Mitch Mortaza way. He disrespects you, and he talks down to you like you should be worshiping him. Women's rights unions would have a field day suing his ass. Below is a list and all the reasons not to play for him in this league. He doesn't care about you or your well-being in this league. For those of you who have played for him, know your insurance policy in this league is a joke. If you get seriously injured in this league, the LFL only pays the first $10K of your bill. If it's a serious injury to where you can't play anymore, require physical therapy to rehab that leg or shoulder or whatever, they aren't paying for it. You literally have to come into this league with your own insurance coverage. Number 2, your contract isn't even legal or binding when he can manipulate and change the contract when he pleases. You all signed a contract when you started in this league, but if you made the playoffs, you were supposed to be sent a different contract to sign. If you didn't, you were either fired or could not participate in the playoffs. There are times when he has come into the locker room and yelled at you ladies for not being emotional enough on the field. Oh, and this is the best one. Take a kill shot for the camera on the opposing player, risking serious injury to her while she's already being tackled just so it looks good on TV for him. Number 4, whenever there are allegations into misconduct about players or coaches, there is no investigation into those allegations, nor do these players or coaches get to confront their accusers for what they are being accused of to see if it's even true. Mitch Mortaza is the judge and the jury, and if he feels you did it, you're gone from this league, whether you did it or not. A lot of people were lost because of how unfair he is. In 2009 and 2010, the pay you girls were getting was a joke. The winning team gets 20% of the gate draw, and the losing team gets 10%. But that's after he has to pay off all the bills for renting the facility and the employees working there. He also tells all you players and coaches to go out and sell tickets to make that money. The team busts their ass to sell tickets, and then you bust your ass on the field, but you get little to nothing in return for it. No one has ever been paid on time in this league. Your check usually comes 2 to 3 months after a game. Number 6, don't even think about trying to get a lawyer to look at your contract or get involved with Mr. Mortaza, for you will be fired right away. A player union to make sure you players are taken care of is also out of the question because he won't have it. You will be fired if you are even thinking or talking to other players of trying to start a players union. What kind of owner gets drunk on a live internet broadcast during an awards ceremony for the players and the coaches and drops F-bombs words more times than you can count during the announcements? He's not a very professional, but he yells at everyone else in the league, telling them how they should act. He referred to his own brother, who was the head of the LFL operations, as, and I quote from the live stream, "He's my right nut. I wouldn't want to do it without him." Wow, really classy and professional. Those are these great people, players, and coaches all got released or quit. Here's a list, ladies and gentlemen. These are great people, players, and coaches who got released or quit the LFL because Mitch Mortaza doesn't know how to keep or treat good people who helped build this league to what it could be. Also, maybe because they saw how manipulative, unfair, and unprofessional he is. There are a lot of people, but this is who I know so far. Gabriel Marie, the 2010 LFL Defensive MVP linebacker, first season Dallas Desire. Annie Hanner, first team 2010 All-Western Conference, first season Dallas Desire. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Erin Marie Garrett, first season 2010 All-Fantasy Team Selection, Dallas Desire. Saren Dunmore, 2010 LFL Offensive Player MVP, first season with the Chicago Bliss. Lindsey Blaine, 2010 first team All-Fantasy, first team Western Conference on defense at defensive end, Seattle Mist, first season. Katie Reichman, 2010 first team All-Fantasy, first team Western Conference on defense, running back, Seattle Mist, first season. Deborah Poles, 2011 LFL Defensive Player of the Year, Chicago Bliss, and 2010 first All-Fantasy Selection Defense, Eastern Conference, first season. Allie Eastlake, 2010 first team All-Fantasy Western Conference and Lingerie Football Bowl 7 game, MVP at quarterback for the Los Angeles Temptations. Mariam Mortaza, Mitch's sister, head talent coordinator for the LFL, 2010. Omar Mortaza, Mitch's brother, head of the LFL production in 2010 and 2011. These are all people who have left the league, have been dismissed from the league for one reason or the other. Okay? Coach Hack and his entire Chicago coaching staff from the 2010, but they were eventually rehired. Coach Matt Sinclair and entire coaching staff from 2011 from Chicago. Coach Tui, 2010 and 2011, All-Fantasy Western Conference coach and defensive coordinator for both LA Temptations and championship teams in 2010 and 2011. Hey, this Tui dude, man, is an ex-Oakland Raider, if any of you people out there wanted to know that, man. This is a serious linebacking football player, I'm pretty sure, if I didn't make a mistake. Antoine Edwards, 2010 Coach of the Year and head coach of the Dallas Desire. Elaine, I can't even say this name, but the Desire's head coach in 2011. Zipporah Chase, 2011 two-time game MVP for the Temptations. Maggie Pearson, 2011 talent coordinator. Bob Huco, head coach of the Miami Clientele and the entire Miami Clientele team. Hey, man, you know who Bob Huco is, Kenyon? Kenyon, Bob Huco. Do you know that name?
No.
Bob Huco launched one of the biggest comebacks for the Florida Gators, playing the quarterback position over FSU in the history of Florida Gators, man. Bob Huco was number one, big-time collegiate quarterback, and this guy gets canned out of the LFL. Are you kidding me, man? Pat Kelly, head coach of the San Diego Seduction and the entire San Diego team. Coach David Bizhub, head director of the LA Temptations. Tasha the Tank Pryor from the Chicago Bliss. Teams that were canceled because Mr. Mortaza claims the teams weren't promoting themselves enough and the girls weren't selling enough tickets to draw crowds. What are you saying, man? 2 minutes? You got to give me 3. Okay? First, the Miami Clientele, Denver Dream, San Diego Seduction, New York Majesty. Mr. Mortaza got rid of 5 starters from the 2011 LA Temptations team and a head coach from the LA Temptations 2010-2011 championship teams. A true professional team owner keeps his great players and the coaches on the team to win.
We get it.
Champions in professional players. Wait. Shut up, Dave. The Playboy spread. Listen to this one, guys. The Playboy spread that the Lingerie Football ladies did in the 2011 February issue of Playboy. Okay? Those girls could have easily made $25,000 each for doing it. They'd done it on their own and not involved the LFL. But because of the LFL contract, they got paid $2,000 apiece. Now, allegedly, Playboy paid for each girl $12,000, but each girl only got $2,000.
What happened to
allegedly? You ask me. How the hell do I know what the hell fucking? Excuse me.
He took the other
Strike
10 and
that,
gave it to the
Kenyon.
insurance.
This guy, I don't know where it went, man.
That's where the $10,000 for insurance comes from.
Okay, so Mr. Mortaza isn't going to give the pay to players. Give me one more minute, please. Kill that music, man. We don't even need to close the show properly tonight. Let me read this. 3 former LA Temptation players are reportedly suing the league for not being paid $8 an hour, no overtime or nothing. In California, they got a minimum wage law. These girls weren't even making minimum wage. Plus, they were supposed to get a split of the $100,000 that the Lingerie Bowl got. These players didn't even get a split of that, man. Now, let me just finish by telling everybody something, man. We started this investigation looking inside the LFL. There was all kinds of allegations, man. There was sexual misconduct allegations, and I just want to tell you something. I looked into these Mitch Mortaza sexual allegation comments that were alleged, and I've never found anybody to substantiate that Mitch Mortaza was sexually aggressive to any player on any team. As a matter of fact, some of these coaches said if Mitch Mortaza would ever be sexually aggressive towards any of the players on any team, they would personally punch his lights out and they would break his neck. So, ladies and gentlemen, I looked into the alleged sexual allegations. I can't find anybody in the entire LFL to substantiate those rumors. Mitch Mortaza, again, you have a open invitation. We'd be glad to contact you and spend an hour with us on the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Any other player, you got any other information you want to share with the public? You heard Natasha Lindsey. Her advice for young women is do not get involved with the Lingerie Football League. Get a hold of LG at CS360 at ClevelandSports360.com. We want to thank Natasha Lindsey for joining the show this evening. It's Halloween. We know everybody's got a busy schedule. Kenyon's got to get out there and get some candy for Kenya Huff. She's hungry. And Dave Danese came all the way from Detroit to help us break this story on the LFL. Dave, Detroit Sports 360. Again, if everybody doesn't have a retirement portfolio put together yet, consider calling Vicky Manorino at Raymond James. She's a very nice lady. Area code 440-516-7550 or toll free at 888-289-7550. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, ClevelandTalkSports.com 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 3 to 5. It's unsportsmanlike conduct. Thursday afternoon, you got fired up with E-Love, Vince, and Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, usually 8 o'clock Monday nights, you get the 411 and the 216. Those ladies are so busy going out and helping out people for trick-or-treating, we're not going to see their show this evening, right, Kenyon?
You got that right.
Don't forget, Courtney G Experience every Thursday night, 6 to 7.
Every Thursday, 6 to 7.
Hey, thanks again for joining us on Cleveland Sports 360. Visit our websites. We're going to put something up. Dave, when are we going to have this up on this fundraiser?
We're looking at a couple days from now.
So any Detroit Sports 360, Dallas Sports 360, you name it, Cleveland Sports 360, we'll get it up. And we love to see you back here again next week for more Cleveland Sports 360. Have a great week. Happy Halloween. And hope we didn't scare you too much.